Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Condensed Podcast. And once again, we are here with our review to give you the gaming news this week. We are reviewing a variety of news that comes from the gaming zeitgeist and this latest kind of culture. And oh boy, we've got everyone in here tonight. And we are unfortunately down a Lemming, who is unfortunately unavailable, although he's in the chat, so say hi to him if you're a part of the audience. But today, joining us on the regular, we've of course got Shadow.
Hello.
We have Doctor.
Hey.
And filling in for Lemming, of course, is Burr.
Yeah.
With an equally impressive beard.
With an equally impressive beard. Yes.
One of those days, it's going to be as magnificent as Lemmings.
You'll be able to braid it just like he does.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Condensed Podcast. What do we do here today? Well, today, on this show, if you've never watched us before, we kind of discuss the news and
Give us our opinions whether you like it or not.
Yes, our opinions, because we used to find that we'd kind of do a show together. We'd do like a stream, or we'd spend some of the evening together, and then we'd spend 2 to 3 hours after said at doing something, just talking and nattering about events and such, and setting the world right. So we thought, why don't we have a podcast to actually just, be able to get this stuff out there? Maybe you can get some people who agree with us or even disagree with us, kind of in the chat. So let's go on with the normal topic of the news. But first, I want to say, how's everyone doing this week?
As you can see, I'm in a new place now. I'm back in my flat. Everything. I'm finally in my home again. Yay!
so happy about it as well.
Yeah, like I got my place back. It was nice living with my parents and getting my food done for me, but like you gotta get your own place. It is nice, but it's just strange, like trying to readjust and everything. I'm still not fully back yet, but I think I'll settle.
Your headspace hasn't arrived into your place yet.
No.
Yeah. Fair. And Doctor, what have you been doing this week?
Say not too much. I've been doing a little bit here and there. May have heard when a bit earlier on that I was playing a game of X-Wing with Ebac, and obviously he did his stream last night of Aces High. So I think he's a bit Star Wars out, and then he's got to put up with me again tonight. So there we go.
You know me. Me and the term Star Wars out don't exist. I could talk Star Wars for days, years, galaxies even. Light years. Someone's just showing her off one of the books.
Did someone say Star Wars?
Did somebody say Star Wars?
Parsecs, as Lemming says. How are you doing? You were kind of throwing at the last minute because of Lemming not being able to get back. But you were traveling as well.
I've been traveling. I've been spending most of the May Day and a weekend with my parents. After a whole year of not being at home, at my parents' place, because first it was my sickness, then it was their COVID and the war and all kinds of stuff. And now I managed to, and I finally managed to trade Pokemon with my nephew, where he's been waiting for that for half a year almost.
Bless.
That's adorable.
We need more. We need more wholesome content on the show. So
I did manage to sneak in some surprises. I gave him a Scraggy. He would either. Yeah, we all stand Scraggy.
Stan Scraggy. Adorable little.
Yeah.
He just can't keep his pants up. Yeah. Bless him.
Yeah. And I also managed to sneak in a Bulbasaur. And he was also like, "How did you get a Bulbasaur and a shield?"
He knows people.
Yeah,
he knows people. He knows someone He knows someone down there who's played it a lot. He knows someone who's been assembling a living dex for a while now. Probably won't ever get around to finishing it.
I
don't know. I am going to help you along with that.
I happen to know 2 actual Pokemon professors.
Yes.
So yeah, that was fun. Yeah. But no, let's talk about the news and get through as much as we can before we get onto the main topic of the night. The main topic is we're going to be discussing game companies and their desire for your attention. because it seems to be
time.
all the fucking time. Because it seems to be that games aren't a case of, oh, you stick it in, you play it, and thank you for your time and your patronage. Goodbye. It's no, we want you to play more and again and again and again. You know,
we want this to be your job, even though you have a job,
and we want you to pay for it. So yeah,
some people depends. Some people play those games as their job, as streamers.
I mean, I wouldn't call this my job. It's not my job. I do it as a hobby.
I'm meaning some people do it.
Yeah.
And embrace it.
I mean, you're the responsible one. You have it as your side job.
Yes, I have it as a side job because, yes, it earns me money. It earns me a very pittance amount of money, which is fine with me. I do it mostly as it gets me doing stuff, you know? Gets me actually, rather than sit around watching YouTube, actually get to play games. Right, on to the news topics for the week. So we've got quite a few things to get through. I will say is, everyone, if you're wearing a hat, please take it off. For we have a death... Unless what? No. Go on, Bert, this thought.
Unless it's a tinfoil hat.
Unless it's a tinfoil hat, then you can keep it on. But only if it's a tinfoil hat. Also, if you're wearing a tinfoil hat, why the fuck are you wearing a tinfoil hat? But yeah. Unfortunately, E3 is dead. It is DEAD dead.
It's cancelled for this year, although I think a lot of us are pressing F to pay respects to this thing.
Yeah, don't just cancel an event for a year, then bring it back the next year. That tends to be when it's a case of, you lose momentum. And at that point, it's very difficult to get it back. Pretty much this to me is like the nail in the coffin for E3, which is a shame. I actually thought E3, people harp on about it, but I actually really like E3. It always seemed like it's the big gaming event of the year that I look forward to.
Of the calendar.
Yeah.
I have a horrible feeling I predicted this last year, and I'm kind of worried about that.
I think you might have.
I don't know about horrible, but you did predict it last year.
Holy
but
shit.
You know, when they cancel an event that they were holding in the middle of a pandemic and they cancel it while the pandemic is kind of in control, it's symptomatic.
Yeah, I think a lot of video game companies have basically been like, oh, we can just announce our stuff whenever we want to. We don't need this big stage in order to do that.
Thanks, Nintendo.
Thanks, and also fuck you.
Yes. Hi, Kay. Also in the chat. To make
Hello.
Sure they are.
Hello, Kay.
They're acknowledged. Right. So that's the simple thing. Is it was revealed today by a spokesperson.
It was quite a few months back. We are a little late on it. But...
Yeah, we are covering a bit of news from both from March and April as well, and January and such. So there is, it is what it is.
There's a bit of news left, right, and centre.
Some news may be old, but they're still worth mentioning.
The ESA, which is the body that run it, stated, "We will devote all our energy and resources to delivering a revitalized physical and digital E3 experience next summer. Whether enjoyed from the show floor or your favorite devices, the 2023 showcase will bring the community, media, and industry back together in an all-new format and interactive experience. We look forward to presenting E3 to the fans around the world, live from Los Angeles in 2023.
If they mention the word interactive, it kind of gives the vibes that it's going to be more of a online thing, kind of thing. It doesn't sort of kind of say, well, it could be. I suppose it could be a mixture of both.
The reason
for those who can make it, they can watch it live, and for those who can't, they can watch it on devices around the world. I suppose
the reason for the cancellation is noted as to focus on its resources on the 2023 show. Basically, they're cancelling 2023 to kind of pump resources into 2020 to cancel it into 2023. I can understand it. It just seems very unlikely that E3 is going to come back.
Although I don't know though, because now I do want to play the sort of advocate of E3.
Please go.
Because when the companies have to do it online, everyone will be like, hold on, why do I have to do it on E3's rules? I can do the same thing and better on my rules when I'm prepared for it, dictating what time I spend on which segment. I can do it no problem when it's virtual, but when the E3 is physical and you already have a lot of people there, that's that's a very good value for the companies because they can all be in one place. The same sort of people with money, stakeholders, journalists, business people, all those people can just walk from one building to the other, from one conference room to the other, looking at the panel shows, looking at presentations. And that's absolutely worth the time of the companies to participate in E3. But virtually, it didn't really work that well.
And to be fair, even though they're counting this year, you can expect the big companies who are going to have events at E3 will just do their own thing. So you're not really missing too much. You're just missing the show itself, which is a shame. And again, as I say, there's a big spectacle about E3, I feel.
It is a show.
It's a show, yeah.
It was a show, yeah.
Which is a shame.
Microsoft is doing a stream on the 10th of June, if I remember correctly. So I think they might. I think some companies might just smatter around in the E3 sort of time area, but not like altogether.
Summer is when the big stuff is announced, either for release in winter or for next year. So yeah, I can definitely see that being a thing. Well, let's move on. Less fun news. Nintendo of America contractors who feel like second-class workers. A news article presented by Kotaku. As reviewed by our very own Shadow Phoenix writer, Nintendo of America has a union-busting complaint registered against them.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
If I had more time, I would delve in because I've heard smatterings of other complaints from other Nintendo employees. I think, but I didn't have much time, so. But yeah, some ugly stuff is coming out from under there, and to be honest, I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised. Nintendo is a famously secretive company, and it's not often that people make noises from under them. So yeah.
Yes, the employers. So it says here that where we go. A union busting complaint recently filed with the National Labor Relations Board accused Nintendo of America and its contract work agency Aston Carter of surveillance, retaliation, and other unfair labor practices. According to 4 sources familiar with the incident, the complaint, first reported by Axios, comes after a part-time employee spoke about unions in a business meeting and then was later fired mid-contract. In an unprecedented move, others are now speaking about feeling disrespect and exploited at the notoriously secretive Mario Maker. Department meeting took place in February, sources said, and a remark asking for general comment about unionization in the game industry came during an open question and answer period at the end. Months earlier, Vodio Games became the first studio in North America to unionize, and unionizing QA testers Activision called on the publisher to voluntarily recognize them. The employee was fired shortly after for allegedly violating their NDA in a comment on social media. That to me, and this is only mere speculation on my part, that to me sounds like, okay, they said something that Nintendo didn't agree with and didn't want to be involved with. They then look for any kind of excuse to get rid of them. They take perhaps a comment that could be taken out of context without any kind of spoilers at all and say, this is something we can't discuss, NDA violation. I don't know if that's the case, but it's what it smells of to me, and it doesn't smell great.
And as you'll find out from the rest of our news issues, they might be going against the grain here.
Yes. So, moving on to the next article, which is a bit of a woohoo for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, for all of us.
Amy Henning is taking another shot at making a Star Wars game. The creator of Uncharted, for anyone who is in the audience, the new narrative-driven action-adventure game is being developed by Skydance Media, and supposedly is a kind of a revival of Project Ragtag. Which might
be Ragtag, or it might be Ragtag adjacent. We don't know.
Yes, we don't know. We do not know. We just know that is what is supposedly what's being said. But yeah, I'm glad.
We know pretty much what Amy Henning stands for. So
quality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's quality. It's great storytelling. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, to be honest, an Uncharted game in just like the Star Wars. To be honest, an Uncharted game in the Star Wars license would just suit me down to the ground. Honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Completely agree. Yeah, I'm excited for that. It's going to be great. Very early news because, of course, this is only just starting, really. So you're probably going to get any fruitful endeavors out of that for another 4 to 5 years. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it, and I'll certainly be keeping a very well-tuned ear to the ground.
Yeah.
This is the one which I couldn't find any reference to myself, but that's just because I probably am not looking hard enough. Rockstar Games have cut transphobic content from Grand Theft Auto 5 and GTA Online. A Captain Space toy doll and trans caricatures have been removed.
Yeah, in fairness, this was mostly just Twitter feeds without any, because Rockstar kept mum about this, but of course some certain areas of internet discourse have, of course, you know, they're throwing their dollies out because, like, oh, it's affecting the developer vision. Just like, shut up.
Yeah, it's one of those things where right now the trans community is vying for more rights within society in terms of being acknowledged. And
not killed in the case of the US.
And not in the case of the US. So it's completely understandable that, you know, even though GTA is a satirical game, it should be punching, you know, up.
Punch up.
Not punching down. Which GTA does that quite a bit. It does punch up, and it doesn't often punch. It sometimes very poorly punches down. Like often a lot of GTA, especially since it's set in Los Angeles, punch up at like celebrities and companies and the way they work and government agencies. But they rarely punch down. Like, for example, a lot of the street culture is kind of represented quite accurately as far as I'm aware, almost to the point where it's almost kind of like a show like this stuff happens and this stuff is kind of sad and should be addressed and things like that. But that's my limited knowledge on that coming to play. But no, I never felt like they were punching down at that stuff. But especially with I've actually seen the pictures in the articles, and it's a very innocuous background thing. But I can I can understand why they changed it. You know, it's.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a change that means a lot to some people because people will notice things.
Yes.
When you're looking for something that refers to you, you will notice things, and then you'll get upset because it's like making fun of you, of who you are.
Also,
so it's a big culture for them. It's a very small change for everyone else.
Yeah, but it's a massive change for someone who it's affected by. Kay is completely right. The whole thing about those characters is that they didn't necessarily add anything precisely.
Yeah, they didn't add anything. They were just flavor assets on the shelves in some stores, and not much else.
Exactly. Yeah. A great example, and like I always point to the character of Gay Tony as a kind of. I actually kind of like Gay Tony in that because he's just presented as a guy who is just gay and is. You know, and such, but yeah, they were there to. Lemming says they were there to be like, "How look at them," and now it's just a case of it's just a random thing. Yeah, don't punch down, punch up. I'm glad they did that. Also, wow, you made a change in the re-release of the actual remastered version of GTA 5. Color impressed.
Wow. Well, they had to do some changes to justify the name.
Let's move on to a monkey's paw scenario, if ever there was one, which is which is a new Sonic game has been announced. Shadow.
Don't.
It's called Sonic Origins, and it's basically Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles combined in a re-release pack and upscale to widescreen. So effectively, it will play in widescreen format in modern settings, which is what we needed. Previously, the only way you could play a decent copy of the games remastered effectively was on your phone. And Lemming nailed it in the chat. I want to get this game, but holy shit, the pre-order stuff going on there.
Yeah.
Same.
when we were watching the trailer, I was like, yeah, I'm so hyped for it. I'll finally play a Sonic game. And then they showed the pièce de résistance.
Oh, yes.
Table of Doom.
The Table of Doom, quite appropriate, actually. Yes.
It's just like, what the fuck is this?
What the fuck is it? Yes.
Yeah.
For a
Why?
moment, I was just like, Paradox, is that you? Although, in
The way-
fairness, Paradox Interactive is much better with that. Sorry, Doctor.
Yeah.
The way I looked at it, there was an old thing on Top Gear where they showed off a magazine. I think it was for BMW, and they showed they had to show a table of everything, and all it was basically showing is that you couldn't have one specific color with a certain thing, just to show that they actually have a need for showing off the colors and stuff. But I looked at it, I was like, then why didn't they bundle that with that to make it clear that you get that?
Yeah,
So I've-
it
Yeah,
was
well,
ridiculous.
I have just hid
Hmm.
our cameras so the audience can see what we're talking about, because it's kind of one of those like,
Mm.
why?
Why?
Yeah. So this is the pre-order chart. Note that there's two versions of the game. There's the standard edition and the digital deluxe edition.
Yeah.
With the standard edition, you get the game. Good for you. You purchased the game.
Yay!
Hey.
You got the game like you
Nice.
should have done.
Yeah.
Yay!
You not even bought. You pre-ordered the game.
You pre-ordered the game. Good for you. Well done.
Yeah.
But if you
It's not quite Paradox. What I would say is Ubisoft. Is that you?
Yeah, it's more Ubisoft than Paradox, let's be honest.
Yeah. Now, so people will say, okay, well, what's included in the digital deluxe edition? Well, you of course get the game, because that's what you do. You get hard missions in the game. You also get
Wait, so you get
go
New
on.
Game Plus? What?
A hard mode. You get character animations in the main menu, camera controls over the main menu island.
What?
Character animations during the music island, which is basically a music player, and additional music tracks from the Mega Drive and Genesis titles. So basically Sonic 3D Blast, things like that. I'm not gonna. It's just like, shouldn't this stuff be kind of stuff you, I don't know, unlock in games? Hell,
Yeah.
character animation, isn't that not a feature of a game?
Yeah.
Don't games have
Yeah.
like, is it costing them anything just to shove the animation on the main menu? Because what if this basically smacks of what I hear about DLC and stuff, where it's like, okay, let's hold that back to make people pay for it. I hate it when he's blatantly do that, and that is blatantly an aspect of what they're doing.
Yeah. Also,
When-
it would be it would be a bit easier to argue when it's something really important. It would be more egregious, like in case of Mass Effect 3 DLCs, for example. It would be much more egregious, but it would be a bit more justifiable from the point of view of the people who are deciding on that. Whereas people who are deciding this, who came up with the idea to have a separate, different kind of product just to have animated characters in the main menu.
Plus,
And here's the
Makes
kicker.
no sense.
The base price for the normal pre-order is only like a
fi-
bit below
yeah,
the
I
digital deluxe edition.
it's
just
not even £5. I think it's like £4 in the UK difference. It's like, what the?
what?
Why?
If you're gonna fucking milk us, at least fucking milk us. Don't make it like a £4 difference.
That's the thing, and
Almost insulting.
okay, so that's one aspect. The fact that the price, the price between the two versions is completely is almost redundant to the point where it's like, you might as well just give us the digital deluxe version.
Yeah.
There is also the fact that you also, if you pre-order, you get 100 bonus coins, mirror mode, and a letterbox background. So whoop-de-doo, more features being constrained to now a pre-order bonus.
Yeah,
Fun.
what it looks like, the coins are in place of lives now.
Something like that, yeah.
So that's, I mean, it's kind of like an in-game advantage, but not really kind of thing. That's the kind of.
Also,
Come on,
how
guys.
hard is it gonna be to collect 100 coins? Probably within the first level.
I'd probably think it obeys live rules, so probably quite easy, to be honest.
Hmm. And then we get to the fact that I'm going to turn this off now because I feel like we've made our point.
That point.
the price is way too much. This game right now, I'm going to pop onto Steam right now, literally as we are recording this, and grab the price, because I remember the price being outrageous when they first announced it, and I think I'm giving Sega a bit too much credit here, thinking that maybe they've decided to dial it back a little bit. I'm guessing no, but we'll soon find out.
He's too sweet for his own good, chat.
I am too sweet for my own good. Nope.
Chat, prepare your Fs.
No, so it's £32.99 for the base game, and £36.99 for the digital deluxe version. These games.
You've got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, the thing is, these games, they're 30 years old. Well, they're not 30 years old. Well, actually, no. I think they are 30 years old by this point, actually. God, I feel old now.
Yeah.
You know, like, I could understand if these were games from about 10 years ago, perhaps. Because you're getting 3 to 4 games with them. I will concede that point. But 32 just seems like way too much.
Oh, yes, way too much.
It doesn't
knock a tenner off, and then we're talking, I feel.
Especially since people who want the first 4 Sonic games, they can still buy them in the collections as just standalones for much cheaper. They will not be widescreen. They will not be high resolution. They will not have animated characters in the menu.
Yeah,
but they're the same games.
Yeah, but about that, Burr, you might not be able to do that for much longer.
Yeah, because you can't. Because they're also in a move which is shocking, astounding. Published a few days after it. According to PC Gamer, a bunch of old Sonic games will be delisted when the $40 remaster collection releases.
No, just before.
Just before,
a couple of days before.
Yeah.
They delist on the 20th, and I think the Origins collection is a couple of days after.
I do give my award for the best subtitle in this month's news to this article, which says it's the worst Hedgehog-related news since Sonic was given human teeth.
Yep.
Wow.
I would
swinging on that one.
I would be really terrified if he had actual hedgehog teeth.
Yeah, and it's also these games will be delisted on May 30th, May 20th, a month before the release of Sonic Origins.
Yeah, that's the kicker. And also, they learned nothing from what Activision-Blizzard did with Warcraft 3, or Rockstar Rockstar. They learn absolutely fucking nothing, and it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a fucking bloodbath.
I'm going to put out there. Any company that does that is immediately saying, we have no faith in the remaster compared to the original. Like, we feel like it basically is almost admitting we've not done enough to entice people to buy the remaster.
It's like we know it's the same game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It automatically says to me, oh, this is shit. This is actually shit, so we're gonna have to make you buy it, kind of thing. It's just like that's not a good thing to show people, especially after that fucking fiasco. Sorry, I should go that way because Daughter is not a fiasco.
No comment.
Apparently not.
Yeah. So the games that are being delisted are Sonic the Hedgehog 1, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, and Sonic 3D. So if you've been wondering whether you should get them, I would get them now.
Yep. And as Ollie points out, you can get those games on Steam right now for $3.99 each.
Yes, do it. Do it.
And again, if you add them all up, you get to about, $3.99 times 4. Doctor.
Half the price of Origins.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. I was expecting to have Doctor do his party trick of quick math.
No, I'm not doing math today.
Okay. All right. Next news article. Activision-Blizzard is converting over 1,000 QA workers to full-time employees. Yes. So this news dropped on the just over 26 days ago. This is nothing but good. Your QA workers who were part-time contractors are now considered full-time employees.
They've had their minimal hourly wages increased as well, except if they're the Ravensoft QA employees who've been striking. They have not had the hourly wage increase. Now, Blizzard says this is because Blizzard says they can't do it because, according to US labor laws, they can't make any wage changes before while a group of people are actively striking. And whilst that is in law, whilst that's legal, it does look kind of a bit spiteful from an outsider's perspective. You think?
Not just. I mean, by law they can't actually do it. However, I will say I agree. The fact they're pointing it out is almost like, oh well, you did this to yourselves, almost. It's kind of victim blaming almost.
It looks spiteful from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah, makes them assholes too.
They're all assholes.
They're assholes.
He said the line.
Sorry, I was watching Back to the Future 3 with a couple of good buddies a few weeks ago. Right, next thing. The Bethesda launcher is dying. It is being hit with a nuke the size of Megaton. As from the April 27th, you'll be able to transfer your games and your wallet and most of your saves to Steam.
Yeah, you can do that right now, so you should probably do that.
Yeah, especially if to be fair, I didn't even realize this was a thing.
I'm reminding you. Windows.
Alexa, shut up.
Alexa is like, I knew.
I've got my opinion on this, sir.
In fairness, I knew about the Bethesda launcher because I remember there would be some fucky stuff about the Quake remasters involved with that. But aside from that, I didn't.
I knew about Bethesda launcher because I was playing Doom Eternal and I had to.
Oh, really?
Bethesda launcher, yeah. Even if I bought it on Steam, it had to be downloaded through Bethesda launcher, and then it was running Bethesda launcher. Steam was running Bethesda launcher. Bethesda launcher was running Doom Eternal.
I hate that.
Yeah, it was some fucking stuff. It was
I hate that. Uplay does that. Origin does that. Everyone does that. And when it turns out you have 10 games and you want your own launcher, it's not worth it. As Bethesda.
God, I went through Uplay. That was enough for me.
Uplay, yeah. And also, did someone say buddies? Yes, hello, buddy Games in the chat. But God, yeah, I hate it when Steam has these things where it's like, okay, I'm going to start the game. No, I'm starting a launcher that then starts the game for you. I'm like, come on. Why are you forcing me to use your launcher? Why can't I just play the bloody game?
Hey, Bird. Hey, Bird, do you remember when we played It Takes Two from Steam? And it was like, we're gonna have to load Origin.
Yay! Woohoo! Now, where the hell's my password for my Origin? I haven't logged in 2 years.
Oh.
Dear.
Damn. Right. Cool. Well, moving on from that great news. QA workers on Dragon Age 4 have applied to form a union. The group in question contracts with BioWare through a company called Keyword Studios, and they've been given the green light to go forward with their union vote. A union is actually being formed. It seems to be, at least they're in the process of being formed there, which is great, which goes completely against what Nintendo were doing at the start of the stream that we mentioned.
I'd like to just note that the workers from Keyword Studios basically said from what I read, their grievances mainly against their own company rather than BioWare. They've been contracted with BioWare to help with some of the games, kind of thing. They've contributed QA work to the Legendary Edition of Mass Effect, the latest expansion, Legacy of the Sith, Star Wars: The Old Republic, and Dragon Age 4, which is still in production. So just wanted to point that out. I know they've tacked it onto BioWare because that makes a good headline, but it seems they've got more problems with their company rather than BioWare itself, which is good.
Which is good.
to hear.
Yeah, it's good to hear that. There's a good company out there, at least, or at least a company doing better. Kingdom Hearts 4 revealed at a series anniversary event. I'm going to read what Shadow's put in the show notes, because I think it's important to note this. Kingdom Hearts 4 was revealed at the series' 20th anniversary event. Again, I suddenly feel very old. Cue speculation on whether we'll see
Not the only one.
Cue some speculation on whether we'll see some Star Wars in there, and long-suffering groans from a friend who decided to play all the Kingdom Hearts games. Sorry, Weird.
Yeah.
There was
I suppose the caveat to that. I suppose the caveat is if he were to do it in such a time frame and blast through 1 through 3 before that 4 comes out, he can turn around and say, "I played all the ones that were there at the time."
Oh, you naive fool! You
I
think
was going to say you blast through?
you blast through? What?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh.
Your first mistake is thinking that it's easy to blast through the Kingdom Hearts games, because they're not.
Yeah.
Your second mistake was thinking there's only 3 games.
There isn't 3 games. There isn't 3 games. There are lots.
It's a lot of games, and I don't know if anyone knows what
are we
exactly
including the
timeline
point
is.
blah updates? Are we counting the point whatevers?
Yeah, because they are collections that they're the collections that include the side games like Dream Dot Distance, A Birth by Sleep, Chain of Memories, basically for
285 days over 6 or something.
Yeah, that's
drop roll release or whatever that is.
In actuality, I think there's about 7 or 8 games. So
there's a lot, yeah.
So let me just say, Lewis better finish them before 5 comes out.
Which will probably be the 25th anniversary, to be fair. So you got 5 years. Clocks are ticking.
As soon as I saw those show notes, I applauded Shadow for her comment on there. Vicarious Visions is now officially merged into Blizzard. The Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 studios known as Blizzard Albany, and will be fully dedicated to Blizzard games.
Press F to play respects, guys. They gave us Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, and they're not going to be doing that anymore. Pour one out.
Well, they also gave us the Reignited Trilogy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I didn't see that written in the article, but yeah.
Pretty certain.
I think they did.
It's such a shame. It is such a shame because go on, Burr.
No, the only thing I want to say is the good thing and the bad thing is that they were incorporated into Blizzard, not Activision. They were kind of working on COD for a while.
I mean, sure, but
it's
still not great either way. Because now they're effectively going to be working on. Because now they're going to effectively be working on what is I'm guessing Overwatch 2.
Overwatch and possibly WoW. I don't think so. Or Diablo. Excuse me.
Diablo 4 possibly, if that still is alive.
Because they don't want to make because no one wants to make a platformer these days, apparently. I know.
Strange looking at the sales numbers that the Reignited Trilogy and the Insane Trilogy had.
God, I just love more Spyro games, you know?
Me too. See, the problem with your thinking is your thinking is completely reasonable. But the thing is, a shareholder looks at it and thought, yes, but we could add a 0 on if we have to focus on a game that's already in production. One of these games. Yeah,
the problem is that shareholders don't think. They're not normal people. They just want extra zeros. It's like, yeah, but that's making lots of money. Let's make that. And it's just like,
yeah, it's like they're looking at games like cars. Like, if we make this game in green, we're gonna sell more. And it doesn't work like that. It doesn't make sense.
No, I wish I could cover them in green.
I wish we could make some Soylent Green out of them.
That's a bit far. Dial it back.
They taste very nice.
Yeah, we want to eat them.
Yeah.
Bit of happy news, which we're actually going on to Blizzard. World of Warcraft Dragonflight will add playable and reliable dragons, and will most likely re-engage someone's love-hate relationship with a certain company.
I wonder who that could be.
Yeah, I know, right?
Leave me alone.
I think to be fair, the mention of the word dragons is like, ooh.
Yeah, like I was making a joke because me and I think it was me and Bo were watching the announcement stream, and I was making the joke of the meme of like when in case of sub loss, break glass to dragons.
Yeah.
I have to admit, as someone who's an outsider, I saw that kind of thing. I thought this is pretty fun. I might actually give this a shot. But
I mean, I would dissuade you, but
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to.
Yeah, I mean, if you really wanted to, I would, but
I also believe isn't WoW one of those games that you need to have constant engagement with?
We'll get onto that.
Yeah, we'll get onto that.
We'll get onto that.
But yes.
I mean, out of the games that require constant engagement, those I think are the least offenders because they're kind of designed to do that and have been for a long time.
Well then, I have a lot to say here.
We'll get to that.
Indeed.
CD Projekt.
Yes, I was just getting to that.
CD Projekt looking into menstrual leave after the GOG announcement. So effectively, in a huge step for equality in the workplace, both within games industry and beyond, GOG recently announced that it started to offer menstrual leave to its employees. That means whenever period pains occur, affected employees can take as much time as needed off work to recover. Menstrual days will be fully paid, with GOG estimating they will result in affected employees taking additional day off per quarter.
Yeah, that sounds pretty fucking reasonable to me as somebody who has menstrual pains.
Yeah, I can't really comment on this. So I defer to you, Shadow.
Yeah, so
75% of this room can't comment on that.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to know what period cramps are kind of equivalated to the period, imagine you somebody cutting off your finger without anesthetic.
It hurts, basically, is what she's trying to say.
Yeah, and it hurts for a long period of time. That's equivalent to what I feel at least once or twice a week.
And yet, unlike me, who doesn't get that, Shadow's expected to continue to go and doing her work as per normal through that pain.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't seem fair, does it?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, it's not just the pain as well, because of all the hormonal changes that occur in the body, it throws you off completely.
There's the psychological aspect as well, because the fact that affects your mood, affects everything, affects you as a person entirely.
Yeah, now that ibuprofen will help you that.
Yeah, it's like, and also like a lot of people certain men will make a joke of the she's on a period kind of PMS sort of stuff, and I mean they're not wrong in that. Yes, it does alter my mood. I get a lot more aggressive because I don't know, at that time of the month I have the same testosterone levels as a guy, so a cis man.
One of us.
Yeah, so
the difference is though you're not being a little bitch like they are.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's just a lot.
That was a very quick comment. I really thought you were shooting at me then for a second.
No. It's just a case of like, it's not just the pain, it's also the blood, because it can be hard to manage, especially on heavier days, and also it completely fucks you up. It fucks you up like you retain water. You get angry. I tend to snap over little things, and little tiny things that will upset me will just send me just spiraling down. And also, nobody talks about the fucking diarrhea you get. It's not great. It's not fucking great. Anything below the waist just fucks up for like a week, and then it's like, oh, okay, it's fine.
And of course, per regulations right now, you're not allowed to take time off for that. Because it's not considered. No. It's not considered a medical issue, I think, is what the key thing is.
Yes, I think it's. Yeah, I would have to take illness, and it wouldn't be counted as illness. I don't think it will be counted as illness because it's like it's not severe enough, and it's like, honey, guys, You know that's like mini labor pains, right? I'm going through mini labor, yeah. It's like apparently not.
So all in all, this is good. It's great that
Good.
it's great that the company are looking, the CJ Projekt Red are looking into this, and it's great that G&G have already done it. Quite frank.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It is
And
really great.
yeah, I think a lot of people. I think I'm gonna see a lot of people bitching about it.
Oh, naturally.
Being like, because they're gonna be like, oh, but what if they just lie? It's just like, no. But of course, people lie. Do you think people weren't already doing that to get sick leave?
Yeah. Furthermore,
Yeah.
furthermore, people lie about being ill when they're not having menstrual pain.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, it's one of the things where there will be people who take advantage of all kinds of circumstances. That's not a reason to not offer it. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just like
Also, you don't get your deadlines moved when you take a menstrual leave or sick leave or any other leave. You just have a day extra, and then you have to work extra hard to keep the deadlines.
yeah,
So it's not so it's not so amazing. It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
yeah. I
sick
mean,
leaves.
as the sort of final note to this before we move on, I would definitely take menstrual leave because sometimes I just feel mentally so rotten that I'm just like I would prefer not to go into work or have to touch it. Just spend a day to myself. I wouldn't take more than a day, I don't think. But I've felt so fucked up in the head that it's been like, yeah, I would like to take a day if there was a day. Thanks.
Right. Wow. Oof. I mean, that's a rough one. I think you're putting too much of the weight on your shoulders. Okay,
Yeah.
so the last thing I have, it's not the last news article because Doctor's got the last one, which will take us into our topic, is apparently Square Enix doesn't want to make video games anymore.
Wait, hold on, Eva. We need to take the mask off this thing. It was
Konami all along! I don't know what it is. Like, that's now two kind of big, kind of Eastern, Japanese-based companies that have now decided, hey, we don't like making video games. We want to make either A, pachinko machines, or B, sell NFTs. What is it with that?
I don't know. At least Square Enix had the decency to sell its IP, though.
That is true. They have so the Embracer Group, which is a group I'd never heard of until yesterday.
Yeah, I had to look them up. I was like, what?
Has entered into an agreement to acquire studios Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, Square Enix Montreal, and a catalogue of IPs, including Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, Legacy of Kain, and more than 50 back catalogue games from Square Enix's holdings.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I really am. Because
quite frankly, the noises that Square Enix has been making, I've not been happy about. So I agree with you there.
Yeah, and the thing is, the thing I like to think, like, Embracer Group, I've not heard of them. I've not heard them come up in things, but to me, that sounds like a company that keeps its fucking head down. It's doing its thing, keeps its head down. You know, that I don't want you causing more trouble.
Yeah.
Just make games.
I mean, we don't usually hear about like investment groups that hold ownership of various companies. Like we sometimes hear about them if there's a lot of like bad noise around them. Like we hear about ZeniMax, for example, which is an investment group also that holds multiple companies under it. But the Embracer Group, they were doing their thing. They were just reinvesting the money that the companies were producing.
Yeah, if you're wondering who the Embracer Group also holds, they hold DHQ Nordic, Deep Silver, Coffee Stain of Valheim and Goat Simulator fame, and Gearbox Entertainment, as well as some other little studios.
But they're Gearbox.
Yeah,
see,
they hold Gearbox Entertainment.
See, that's the thing. It's like, wow, yeah, they do keep their heads down because I've never heard of them, and yet they own these big companies.
And also, they have things from all kinds of areas. Like on one hand, they have Gearbox, on the other hand, they have THQ Nordic. That makes totally different kinds of games.
Yeah, totally different.
And now they have Square Enix stuff.
Yeah, and they've got a little mobile. They've got some mobile studios as well. So they do everything. And the fact that we've not heard of them till now means that they pretty much just. I would assume they just leave the companies to do what they do.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
occasionally give them money. Occasionally.
Yeah, probably people who sit in the games industry deeper, they probably know that there's a group like that. But yeah,
I would be fascinated to find out which IPs are actually moving, because no doubt Square's wanting to keep Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy and that such.
Final Fantasy, yeah, they definitely want to keep those that are really well sold in their domestic market.
Which is weird, because you're selling off Tomb Raider, you're selling off. I mean, sure, Tomb Raider's not as big as it used to be, I guess, but still.
There's Deus Ex in there and Thief.
Yeah, Thief.
Also eBack. Maybe another Legacy of
Kane. Yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
I mean, yeah, if like THQ Nordic gets the Legacy of Kane IP and does something with it, it could be interesting.
I mean, I would really love to see how people take Deus Ex's world apart, honestly, because that needs. I think that would really help from people just getting their hands in them. And looking at the meat of what's in there.
I'd be quite fascinated about a new Legacy of Kain game, because there was that there was a tech demo I remember seeing years ago for an unreleased game that looked pretty good. I think it's called Legacy of Kain Sunscorch or something like that. Completely disconnected from the rest of the storyline, but it looked like a really interesting game, and I'm sad that never came to pass. But yeah, that's pretty much so. Unknown company that we previously never heard about gains a load of big name games and companies.
It would be really interesting, because not just that the Embrace Group, but also all the companies that it owns, they are more Western local. They're all Western located.
Yes.
So those particular IPs might be much more interesting for the Western audiences. So maybe they will do something with them, like Legacy of Kain, maybe a new Deus Ex, maybe a new Tomb Raider. Because it might be that those, whatever we might think about those IPs, they feel like dead wood to Square Enix. They feel like something that they don't have any plans for, so they can just sell them if there's someone who can buy them.
Yeah, I have. Sorry, Burr, finish your thought.
Yeah, they want to focus on the games that actually they are making tons of, like the JRPGs that are selling like hotcakes on the domestic market, the Arise series, and all kinds of Final Fantasies and Kingdom Hearts. They are really well received, and they will definitely want to keep those.
Yeah, I also think that Square Enix of relatively recent has any game that doesn't sell like gangbusters in like the first couple of like months, they just throw to the side. I know that happened with the Tomb Raider reboot. They wanted the Tomb Raider to sell an obscene amount of the first thing, and it was like, they're not going to do that kind of thing. So I think this is Square being foolish, in my opinion, and just going, these things won't sell gangbusters. Yeah, you can have it, kind of thing. But in a way, it's a good decision, because if you're not going to treat them nicely, I'm glad you're giving them to somebody else.
Yeah, unlike Konami, you're fucking keeping Castlevania behind and Metal Gear Solid behind inside its castle. Doctor, you've got the last news topic to talk about, haven't you?
Finish us off, laddie.
Do I? I've forgotten what it is. I've been following the thing, and I can't see the notes here.
What are tanks?
Apparently, it's World of Tanks related.
Oh no! This ties in with the topic of the conversation for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. But
sorry.
Segue.
Sorry, segue. I like segues.
Not that kind of
segues. Yeah. So obviously, I said, we said that the topic for this evening is all about having games after release, obviously down the line, getting you, keeping you engaged on a fairly regular basis, whether that's on a day-to-day, like probably more for like quests or challenges like that, or try and invest you to keep coming back for other sort of in-game rewards. So the example that I instantaneously thought of when this sort of came up was the World of Tanks, I play predominantly on the console version. So I had sent a link to the guys before we got started. So the big thing is you can see on the main page is that you've got the first thing that it says about what's happening this week. So you've got literally like an up to date thing of what's going on, which sometimes includes like little like weekly events or challenges that's going on, and also there is another thing right next to it, which is a 4-week objective that you've got to complete a minimum of 3 of to be able to get a tank for free. If you were to complete one of them, you get 35% to 70%. 3 or 4 of them, you get the full amount. So literally, it's not one of those challenges that's like, realistically, I've tried it, because this is not the first time they've actually done an event like this. So I know for me, it's probably a good significant chunk of hours to throw in, because some of them are not like, it's not like you turn in and you play games. It's you've got extra certain play conditions in the background of that. So it's not simply, you play X amount of games, you're going to get your progression for that week. But say, that's one of my big things, is like literally it's like, oh, so what they bring out this week? Oh, I'm not going to necessarily get involved with that. Oh, they've got a season pass at the moment, which is called Steel Beasts, which is over, I think it's something like 9 or 10 weeks or something like that. Their regular sort of season. So it's like you got to log in daily to try and make sure you can keep up with progress and stuff like that, and hopefully get a lot of free stuff back from being able to complete the whole battle pass.
I mean, what do people feel about in terms of what's going on in terms of these companies? Because first of all, I think it's important to know, what do we define as engagement? For me, what I'm getting annoyed about are all these companies releasing a game, and if it was just that, it'd be fine. But then it's the constant like, oh, but we want your attention, we want you to continue playing this. For example, I've been playing some Jedi Fallen Order again in my spare time, just on and off, just because I really enjoy it as a game. It's a game I can pick up, I can play, I can finish, and I don't have to worry about anything. But then you get games like Crash Team Racing, which is, I really enjoyed the remake, Nitro Fueled. For that, you had to take part in Grand Prix every month, and if you missed out on the Grand Prix, you would miss out on that content. It's a bit like how Fortnite is doing things right now in terms of, and you get that a lot in these shooters these days, where it is constant like, okay, you must play this, otherwise you'll miss out on this, and you don't want to miss out on that. And that's what I really hate, is the constant engagement where companies are like, we don't want you just to play this, we want you to play this all the time, constantly.
Yeah, they want it to be almost your second job, and I might have been able to do that when I was younger, when I didn't have a job, when I didn't have to look after a flat or anything like that. I mean, my younger self played an inordinate amount of MMOs when I was little. I had the time to go mount farming, like once a week, every week. I'd have a rotation of all the raids I would go through to solo to see if I could get a mount drop on one of them. But I can't do that anymore. I'm already tired and I don't have the time, and I think that's what it is for me. Engagement for me is time spent playing the game, whether it could be good engagement, whether I'm getting good stuff out of it, or bad engagement as in I feel like this is work kind of thing. And if I just don't have the capacity now, if I feel like a game is wasting my time, I will just drop it completely. It's just like, I don't have time to entertain you. I don't, it's just a case of, if you don't respect me, I don't respect you. Away with you.
Yeah, it's just we're a target for a different kind of engagement with the game. We want one time one-time engagement. We want to see the game, we want to play it through, we want to engage with it, and then have it done. Like spend 20 hours on the game, and then either switch to something else or spend time on something else. We don't have that. However, I can see how this could be good for people who, let's say, even if they have limited time like us, they might not have really finances for like buying games regularly, or they are the kind of people who would love to engage with just one medium, one game. That is great for them. They will have all kinds of updates regularly, like with Fortnite. They will have updates regularly. They will have some additional content in different media. They will have some comic books. They will have some shows or whatever. They will have all kinds of things. They can be engaged with one thing, but it's I don't know how big percentage of gamers that is. Those people who would engage with just one game. Because with the policies of just engaging constantly with a game and keeping your finger on track on with all kinds of things with that game means that you can only focus on that one thing. You can only play that one game because your time is limited. You don't have time to play another game. You don't have time to do other things because you're constantly doing only that one thing.
How do you feel about it? Because, Doctor, out of all of us, you're probably the one that still kind of plays a lot of live service games with things like...
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say, because you've got a different sort of form of engagement when you get, like, say, these like DLC bits here and there that give you extra content. Like, I'm thinking of the Avengers game as much as I'm going to get why have you mentioned the Avengers game?
Yeah, but you're
But like, it was like you got. Well, no, I haven't played it, but I'm just because I know, like, say, I've seen it come up in, say, for example, the PlayStation Store quite a lot, where like you've got like extra characters like Hawkeye and a small mini campaign for Hawkeye, same for Black Panther and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, small little bit of content, you can pick the game up, get yourself reinvested again, but it's not like, say, you are right with sort of the live service stuff where you kind of got to play for a certain kind of period. Otherwise, you say, in this case, obviously, if I didn't get my things for, I could play for those 4 weeks for, say, this new tank, but if I don't hit the criteria, I'm not getting any money off it. So it's like, it's the incentive that you're going to have to play. You're going to try and have to grind a few things out. There's sometimes where, like, say, with games like that, where it does get on my nerves, because it's like I'm trying to invest my time in it. It's like, I've always said to myself, oh, I'm going to try and get this done, hopefully before I go to bed. And it's like, but because it's like, literally, if I don't do it like that day, the next day, that's kind of gone. So it's then like I've been crazily trying to get that done. It's just like, that's when it doesn't get fun, because you're literally playing just to get something done. You don't have that passion. Like, say, so yesterday I had a few games I had to play, and it was fine doing it. I had a few good games which were fine, but it's just like some of them is just like you feel like you just spend so much time for hardly any progress, and it's just like, you get invested part way, you've got to kind of play it all the way through, which sometimes does sort of take it away. Because, say, I did actually have this point of time actually with World of Tanks where I actually burnt myself out on it big time, and then probably didn't play for the best part of about 6 months. And from a game that I was playing like near enough, it felt like at least an hour a day every day, to then be in a situation where not played it for 6 months, I'm coming back in completely blind and I'm playing effectively on cold again, because some of the mechanics and stuff have changed. Obviously, with a live game like, say, World of Tanks, new tanks and stuff have come in since then. It's like, which ones of those are going to be any good? What's the way of getting past them? And it's just like, but I think it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's the you've got to understand what the game is trying to be at the start, because if you expect it to be like a DLC thing and it turns out to be a live service event, and then you beat yourself up because you're not able to get the extra game stuff or whatever, you kind of feel a bit bad about it, I suppose.
Yeah, it preys upon that feeling of like, oh, I've got
Missing
to
out. Yeah.
fucking do this, otherwise I'll miss out, kind of thing. Yeah, the fear of missing out. I do remember sometimes like having a busy day, coming home, and being like, oh shit, I need to do my route run for this specific raid because it will reset that week, and if I don't do it now, then I've wasted my time, kind of thing. I've wasted that chance, kind of thing, and that's I think the main thing is like I'm okay. Well, no, I'm not really okay with it. It's basically a case of I don't mind spending a lot of time in a game, but I don't want to feel like I need to or I have to, kind of thing. I spend more time in the game as a kind of reward kind of thing. Like
Yes.
I'll take the Skywalker saga actually as an example, because that's an open world game and like there's a shit ton of things to collect. Holy shit.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't mind doing the little side quest, and I am probably going to go back into it because I've completed all the. Well, I've not finished them. I've not completed them. I've finished them all. I finished all the episodes there because. But I feel like okay, you've been a really interesting game, and there's some stuff that I want to do. I will reward you with more of my time because I enjoy this and I want to do more of it, kind of thing.
Yeah, how would you feel? How would you feel if it's a case of, oh, play for this week and you'll unlock Anakin Skywalker, but only for this week? You know, that kind of thing.
I would walk the fuck away.
Yeah.
I'd install that game, but like, nope, because as Ebak rightly pointed out earlier in the podcast, I have a lot of experience with MMO games, and particularly, I'll say in fairness, a lot of MMO games that I've played tend to be okay. They used to be okay about it, but of relative recently, WoW, World of Warcraft decided, yeah, we're gonna really lean on progression, kind of thing. And so what they would do, this started off in Legion. Well, technically it was in Warlords of Draenor. Never mind. The one that I know the most is Legion, where it was like, okay, so for this expansion's conceit, the Burning Legion has come back in and they're wrecking shit. And in order to beat the Burning Legion, you had to collect legendary weapons and power them up. And in order to power up these legendary weapons, you need to collect artifact power, which can be all kinds of little doohickeys and MacGuffins and stuff. And what you would do is once you reach max level, you would unlock the entire of the Broken Isles, and it was basically like, okay, do dailies, and if you do, I think it was 4 quests for a certain faction of that day, whatever day it was, it would rotate around them. You would get like a little box, and in this box you would get a rare item. You get like gear, money, artifact power, stuff like that, and you put it into the weapon, and you would unlock new skills and stuff like that. And in Legion, I don't know how they managed to do it, or whether I was in just the right place at the right time, but it felt okay. Like, sure, there was that incentive, like, come on, you want to do your MSC today, don't you, kind of thing. And it's just like, okay, fine, whatever. And you also had the mobile app, so you could send your heroes off to do little missions around the map when you weren't there, kind of thing. We're not going to talk about the mobile app. Ignore that I said that. But that was fine.
There's no mobile app in Basing Say.
Shh. Yeah, but that was fine. Legion, it was fine. That was like it existed, but it wasn't a bad thing. Now, what happened? Next expansion, Battle for Azeroth. Now you have something called the Heart of Azeroth, which is an amulet that you wear across your neck that you use, that you collect. I think it was Azerite points. Conveniently, the same acronym, AP. You collect the blood of Azeroth to put into the heart of Azeroth. Look, it's very it's a whole explanation. But basically, that was a whole thing that you had to do, and then it was like, do your dailies for more Azeroth for more Azerite, so you could power up your thingy and get more stuff. And then I think it was the next expansion. Was it the next expansion? No, it was another patch where it was like, oh yeah, so you've got all these emissaries in one place, right? Well, how about you go to a different area and do more emissaries for another area? But you got to do them at the same time, you see, because you want to get further in the story quest, don't you? Like, wait, what?
Forgive me, but
So there was that.
I thought there were days when games would have things like these like cosmetics as unlockables rather than something which you have to be in a timed event for. You know?
Oh yeah. Did I speak about the Mage Tower event? Because that was a thing in Legion. So there was this. It's actually been put in now as part of time walking because Blizzard actually listened for once. Jesus fuck. In fairness, it seems like they've been listening more, so I'll give them that. But like, there was this thing near the end of Legion, which was called the Mage Tower, where basically whenever it wasn't permanently up. By the way, it had to be built by people over the course of about a week, and then when it was up, it was only up for about 3 days. 3 days every cycle, and you had to collect a certain amount of certain amount of resource in order to go in to do the challenge. I think the first challenge was free, and then you had to like pay more in order to keep doing the challenge. And what it was basically you had your class spec, you had your class and your spec, and basically you were given a certain boss fight that you had to do, and you had to play your class perfectly, or at least as perfect as you could, in order to get a different appearance for your artifact. And anybody who was wondering where those artifacts went in Battle for Azeroth, they got completely depowered. They got completely depowered at the end of that expansion, and they just became a transmog item. Bye. And that also happened to the Heart of Azeroth. But just
Wow.
Look, I'm on my fucking tirade now.
Well, it's one of the case that.
Well, can I
Sure.
just finish because this ties in. But yeah, so the Mage Tower existed for a little bit, and then when the next expansion was coming along, Blizzard said, all right, you've got to get your artifact appearances that you get from the Mage Tower done by this date, by the next pre-patch, because if you don't get it at that time, the Mage Tower is going to be permanently deactivated and you will never, ever get those experiences ever again. You can get them now, but that was the line drawn. So as soon as pre-patch dropped for Battle for Azeroth, at that time you could no longer get those artifact appearances anymore. If you got them, you had them, but if you didn't have them, you couldn't get them. And
wow.
Yeah, and then Shadowlands basically turned into, this is your second job now, because what was it? It was dailies again. It was we're doing embassies again, except this time you've sworn yourself to a certain faction, so you've got to do you've got to do dailies for them specifically. Reputation was gating story quests again. You had to go through Torghast, which was, I don't know what that fucking was, but it was a chore. You had to do that, and then the next patch it was like, oh yeah, you've got to do your reputation somewhere else, and it's just like, it was all these things just stacking one on top of the other, and it was just, and at that point I just held my hands up, and as soon as I got to max level I just went, I'm done.
Yeah,
and I've never gone back.
That's the thing is, games don't seem to appreciate that you want time to play other games at all. And again, I go back to it because it's the best stuff I have. When Weird and I were doing the nitro fueled Grand Prix, so in the Grand Prix there's a shop which you can spend points on, which conveniently you can buy with real money, these coins, or at least you could after they released that as an option. And that's an option at a time. You could buy things in the store, and that would unlock characters, unique costumes, unique cars. I'm very much a completionist, and I very much like to be able to have the full experience of the game. So I would grind for a month, just play Grand Prix match after Grand Prix match after Grand Prix match, just racing to earn enough coins in order to get all the stuff from the store and not have to buy. You actually use actual money. And then the Grand Prix ends. It's like, oh, thank God, the Grand Prix's over. It's fine. Oh yeah, we're starting another Grand Prix next week. This time with a whole new load of unlockables only for this Grand Prix. And it's like, They did this 5 times in a row.
Now I got Overwatch flashbacks.
Yeah, that's the. I don't like it. I like having time on my. I like having to define on my schedule what I fucking do. Games.
Yeah, exactly.
And people will say, "Oh, well, you should take, no." No. I remember back in the days, if the criteria was for unlocking a costume was unlocking a costume, you got to do this. That would last for the entirety of the game until I've completed that criteria.
Yes.
There was no you've got to do it before June or when there's an hour in the month or something like that, unless literally the specification was play the game when there's an hour in the month. Which case, that's easy. Play a game when there's an hour in the month. But it's not like, oh, we're only offering it for this month and then it's gone. And that's the problem with a live service, is that you have no guarantees when things are coming back. You don't know if you're going to miss out on something. It preys on the completionist aspect of people, and it really pisses me off that it's become a normalized aspect of gaming. The fact that games just they don't want you to play other games. They want you to play your game only.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just no. That's a one-way trip to burnout, and I wouldn't. No, it's dumb. Don't do it. And as I've said before, I just don't have the capacity anymore for my time to be wasted. If you're gonna waste my time with mechanics or some bullshit sort of, you need to do this before the time, though, I'm just gonna turn around and say, it's been lovely knowing you, but fuck off.
Yeah, and that's also a kind of thing that when you're editing the game, it can spoil the experience for every innocent, fun-looking game, like Fall Guys, for example. It's been expanded by the dailies and by this additional tier of elements that you can collect by doing dailies. So before it was with the experience that you got by finishing the what was it called, the sessions, the rounds. Yeah, you were progressing an experience. That was something that has never been reset. But then they added the dailies. It was a fun incentive because it made you you play like you played before, but you also can have those additional dailies. And there was additional list of items that you can get after each sort of daily points. And that's something that has been reset in the seasons or in.
I think it's seasons, yeah. In fairness, I think the dailies thing for Fall Guys was a good idea, because if you were chronically unlucky like myself and you never managed to win games and stuff like that,
you could go for the dailies.
You could go for the dailies, and it would allow you to progress. But the way it's partnered up with the seasons and the time limit is not great.
It isn't. But you are right. This was the kind of better kind of dailies. The kind of dailies that didn't you didn't have to do dailies to progress. Dailies were just on the side. You were playing the core loop of the game, and in the meantime, as a side job, either the dailies were completed or not.
Yeah, and they were quite useful as well, because some of them would give you crown fragments, which if you gathered enough, you would get a whole crown, which was useful if you didn't win games like I did.
The only other way was to win games, and
anytime a game is announced and it says, "Oh yeah, this is what we're going to do for our first season," I roll my eyes. I roll my eyes. I'm like, I don't want seasons.
No.
I don't want seasons. I don't want this. I'm not watching a fucking TV series that I'm going to get invested over several years for. I'm playing a game which I want to pick up, finish, and put down. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like immediate turn off.
It stopped me playing Battlefront games because I don't, well, not Battlefront, Battlefield games, I should say. Battlefield games, because I don't want to be involved in all this bullshit. And people say, "Oh, you don't play it." It's kind of hard when it's shoved in your fucking face every day by the company to not feel like you're missing out on something.
Yeah, and for those people who say it's just cosmetic, just
that matters.
And it's just cosmetic. No. Cosmetics matter. Some cosmetics are really fucking cool, and I want them.
But we can only get them if we invest, X amount of time. Which I don't know. I'm not saying you give them to us for nothing. I'm just saying don't limit the time I have to get them in.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you're gonna, you could say, oh, you could get them for free if you do this much for this amount of time. But after this time has passed, then they go on the store with everything else, and you just have to buy them. That
Well,
would
I mean,
At least that way
would
it's kind of
suit me.
fair. You've got both sides of the coin. You've got you can invest your time now, or they may turn up later in the store, which gives you a chance to potentially buy them later down the line.
Well,
It kind of goes, if I miss it, it's not necessarily the only chance I'm going to get it, which is a bit of a better experience, I'd have thought.
Yeah. It would still be fine if they did show up later to buy for real money. It's not great, but it's definitely better than, for example, what Overwatch did. Clearly, Blizzard is guilty on many fronts here. I've been playing a lot of that. They were doing like they would be doing an event like a Lunar New Year or Olympic Games or something, or a winter season, things like that, and you would have skins for that. You would have to grind a lot because, of course, those skins would just drop out of loot boxes, which you get for winning a particular number of games or buying them during that season.
Yeah, as Lemming has pointed out, it's a piece of shit.
Yeah, it is. And those skins, when the season finishes, like after a week or 10 days, you are not able to buy those skins for points earned in the game. You have to had played enough or bought loot boxes during that period. And 2 weeks later, there's another season. There's another seasonal event for something else, and you're just grinding on paying inordinate amounts of money.
Yeah. Did the seasonal skins change, or was it just one seasonal skin per character that you could get each rotation?
No, they were usually like 6 to 10 skins. There would be one skin for like a particular character. It would be like during the winter time there would be a skin for Farah or May, and
would it be but would it be that same skin like each time the seasonal thing came up? Would it be that same skin again, or would it be something completely different for that character?
I mean, during the time I played, it turned out, it wasn't said anywhere, it turned out that during the same seasons, like during the recurring Halloweens, it was the same skins. Sometimes they added some more, but the same were recurring.
Okay.
Yes.
However,
that's a bit better. Yeah.
Slightly better, but it wasn't
still annoying.
It wasn't clearly announced like that. And also, you still have no guarantee that they don't say like, this year we're stopping the Halloween. If you don't have the Halloween skins, you'll never get them anymore.
And
that's happened.
I want to point out Lemming talk about Hitman, because Hitman does have seasonal content. But from what I understand, this is my limited knowledge, is when that seasonal content is available, that content is available and can be played at any point. For example, if I wanted to right now, we are in May, I could log on and I could play the Christmas missions that they released at Christmas.
Yeah.
And I can, if there's any unlockables associated with them, I could unlock them. I could play them and unlock them. That's, I think, how it should be done. You provide content without any kind of barrier. It's like, okay, the reward for playing and engaging with that content is you get the reward, but there's no time. There's no time frame for that. The only exception, this is why the elusive targets don't really have a reward for themselves. They have a reward if you do any five elusive targets, you get a suit. But then most people, that could be any elusive target. You could do any number of them in any order. As long as you do 5 of them, you get the suit. That isn't a better way of doing it. It's not an ideal way. There's still problems with it, but it's a lot better way than saying, yes, you can only get this one instance in this one time at this one opportunity.
Yeah, I still hold a dramatic bone for I still have a dramatic bone to pick with RuneScape for because they would do seasonal rewards every year, but every year it's different. So if you miss it for that particular year, then you didn't get it.
Yeah.
Like I remember there was a whole quest line where you turned into a bunny rabbit, an Easter bunny rabbit, and that was really cool. You got an item afterwards that if you used a certain emote, you would turn into a bunny rabbit, and I was like, that's so cool. But if I'd missed Easter that year, I would never have got that, and there would be no way for me to get that at all.
I'm pretty sure Star Trek Online has the opposite approach, where effectively, when they have an anniversary going on, you can unlock the stuff from the previous anniversaries as well.
Yes.
So long as you take part. And I was like, that's fine, because if you weren't,
That's a way better approach, yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's one thing they retain from like their first year which you can't get, which I think that's because that was their launch week or something. But yeah.
Fine, it's fine.
Yeah,
I can understand launch week stuff, you know.
Yeah, and it's you know, and like as long as there's only like one or two things that you can't get because of time things. But for example, if they release 10 things each year and one of those things is only for that year, then I'd be like, okay, well at least it's just one thing. But it's not as good as 0. But I'd rather that than all 10 items be restricted to just that year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not like I wanna go busting into NHS what to RuneScape to RuneScape and go give me your fucking party hats, because the party hats are an important thing.
You
for
don't want to,
RuneScape, but it's just like all the little other things, please.
You definitely don't want to break the NHS and scream, "Give me your party hats!"
Give me your party hats. That's how I get fired from my job.
They don't have the budget for it.
That's
Without using the party hats as bloody mace mats.
that's how you get paid leave and put first in the queue for the psychiatrist or therapies.
Maybe I should do that then.
Okay, what are examples of games doing seasonal content right? In terms of where they have a content come out that is not just that time. I'm going to throw in Street Fighter V, because the idea is they release brand new fighters. You can buy them at any point as DLC. They're considered as part of a season, but you know you can get stuff for them if you play as them as well. But you're not limited to that time, as far as I'm aware.
I'm gonna say Super Smash Bros. Ultimate,
Mm.
because their DLC fighters come out, but you can always get them later if you want. There's no you know, you could still play with people who have the DLC fighters and you don't. It's fine. Like they don't mind. It's not really seasonal content. Though.
Yeah, even my one is not even seasonal content because it's released and treated as season, but they are DLC fighters really. And I think that's the thing is DLC has a very different aspect, and I really like the way DLC works in that respect because you hype it up. Because you only get a couple of DLCs for a game these days, most games. So you're like, coming out, there's this brand new content coming out for this game. You get to build up for it. And it's like, oh, coming out in a month, and then you release it. People buy it, people don't. And regardless, if you want to engage with it, you buy it. You're not going to miss out. If you don't, then you don't. Simple as that. It's
yeah. I think like Squadrons wasn't perfect for doing this, but I did like the way, because if you missed the chance to get the cosmetic, it disappeared and you wouldn't be able to get hold of it again. But what it would do is if you were working up to it, if you had like the bar filled a certain way,
it would carry your progress over.
It carried over. So if you didn't manage to get it that month, it were much easier to get it the next month. And I really liked how that happened. I was just like, that's actually an incentive.
I did like it too.
I would have preferred if they'd put the cosmetic on to be purchased for like whatever the fucking thing was, honor or whatever it was. But having that bar be filled and then kept full for the next thing, I was like, that's good. I like that. Do more of that.
All right then. Any other examples we can think of? It's very difficult.
And empty.
Yeah. There are very few games. In fact, it's very difficult to do what's called a seasonal content well, because inevitably you will have stuff which you then miss out on. That's the whole part of the whole concept of the whole season aspect, and it's the reason why I dislike it.
It would have been easier if we engaged with games that were doing that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one to engage. Weird and Div have been having a great time playing Fortnite, and power to them. I won't, because I'll get too obsessed with collecting all the stuff in Fortnite. Even though it does, for what I saw Div playing it, it did look fun. But I don't want to jump down that rabbit hole. You know.
You can see the danger. You're just like, maybe not.
I've still got to play. I've still only booted up Horizon Forbidden West once. And I need to boot that up again and play that. Yeah, so, and that's a big enough game. It's all right. It's a big game, self-contained, no live service bullshit. You know, it's.
Yeah, just want a game that I can just play. Like it's not constantly tugging on my shirt. Just go, play me.
At least it's not a game that also requires engagement with a multiplayer aspect in order to progress into a storyline campaign, right, Shadow?
No. Don't do this to me. You don't know what I've been through. No, but for real though, you just gave me war flashbacks, because
Mass Effect.
not just, well, actually, technically, you could get around Mass Effect without doing the multiplayer thing. So but you just unlocked war flashbacks from fucking the Old Republic, because spoiler alert for Knights of the Throne, Eternal Throne, or whatever the fuck that expansion was called. But basically what happens is, I'll keep it as vague as possible, but your main character gets separated from all of their companions, their ship and everything, and gets thrown into another thing and gets possessed by the Sith Emperor. That's fun. And
As you do.
It's not. It's not fun.
And basically what happens is you get to a point, and it's just like, we're gonna have to get everybody together, the Sith and the Republic and everybody else together, to fight the Eternal Empire, because the Eternal Empire is full of crap. And yes, while the Sith Emperor is living in your head, who is also the Emperor of the Eternal Empire. Look, it's really complicated. It would take too long to explain. But basically, in order to get your companions back, your companions were staggered. So like, sometimes this would be the companion you had been romancing, could be stuck in a piece of content like a million fucking miles away that had not even been released at that point. And in order to get some companions, which may or may or not been your buddies, you had to play PvP, even if you'd never played PvP in the main game at all.
Oh, that's rough. That is.
Yes. One of my companions, who I had, which wasn't in the game, but which was canonically dating my Sith warrior, was behind a PvP thing, and I was like,
oh, I lost it before I threw the game.
Yeah, it was not great, and I think that was why I just fell out of the game, because it was just like, I don't want to be forced to do PvP to get these characters back who I love, kind of thing. And I have, like, because it's a BioWare game, I'd already written like headcanons around my characters, you know.
As you do.
Yeah.
That was a guttural rage outcry. There was one.
See William Danny back.
I
bring out the worst in people. What can I say?
No, you don't.
They're so mean to me, chat. They're not. They're sweethearts as well.
Right. I think that's pretty much us ranting and raving about this topic, and I think we've kind of gone the idea of, it's naff, stop it, games industry. Give us time to fucking breathe.
Enough.
Yeah.
Do we want to have a think about what you want to discuss next month, or do we want to have a word with that in private, potentially? Because I think it'd be nice for us to have like a happy subject.
Hey, guess what's happening next month, Evac?
Yeah.
UK Games Expo.
Yeah.
Yes. Which also begs the question when we're actually going to be doing this next, because we could do this on the 31st of May. I'm off that week.
I'm off 31st as well, but like, I will be. I could do it.
I could do it.
Yeah.
On the first, I'm flying to to Birmingham.
Yes,
but
somebody-
on the
somebody-
31st,
Somebody's
Yeah.
leaving a day earlier than us.
Yeah, on the first I'll be heading back.
Didn't remember
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, on the first I'll be heading back to my parents, so I can be taken to Game Expo. So
So do we want to do it? Because we'll have Lemming back. So Lemming's not going, so he doesn't have to worry about all that lark. We'll have Burr back. We'll have Shadow here. So we're gonna do a stream for UK Games Expo on the 31st.
yeah, we could do that.
yeah.
All right then.
We could do news and then we could do wholesome shit.
Yeah, do news and the wholesome shit about our favorite board games, and then we can do for the month afterwards a round of what happened at UK Games Expo.
Yes. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Love it, Lemming. Traveling. Well, I want to thank all of you who joined us here for the Common Sense podcast, where you've heard us natter on and complain for the last hour and 43 minutes about what we dislike in games.
Hey, Scarf is streaming, by the way.
I'm aware Scarf is streaming. He's playing Doom. He's playing Doom as well.
Yeah, Doom 64.
Yes. So I'm not going to pass opportunity to not raid him. We're going to shove you all over in the raid cannon to Scarf. So yeah, go check out his content. He's a good boy.
Yeah, you will see us again on the 31st.
And yes,
You don't see me.
You won't see him. You won't see him.
Me, though.
You'll see us. So
Yes,
we'll see you all over there. And the raid phrase.
Unless we have a 5-person stream.
And I want you to. No, we're not going to do that. No,
Okay.
we're going to do. Also, the raid phrase is simply going to be engagement.
Validation. Engagement. Validate us.
Here we go. We'll see you all over there. Ta-ta.
Well, goodbye.
Bye bye.